Colorado has a data problem. Well, actually, several of them. Now, the feds say they can't trust the state's job numbers. A new interview with Trump's incoming border czar has a message for leaders in Colorado, his warning to people standing in his way. What happened after the Marshall Fire left some lingering health impacts for people who returned home. Now a study could help others after a devastating fire.
It's an incredible elevation of our community altogether.
This club has a legacy that has shaped some of Denver's most consequential black leaders. And it's Friday. And it's snowing in the mountains.
It was a great Christmas, great snow, great day, beautiful outside. You know it.
Sounds like a good mix for our favorite Friday tradition. Just ahead on Next. The state of Colorado is having a really tough time with transparency and accuracy lately. Last night, we told you about a second chemist accused of messing with water tests at the state lab. Now, the state's unemployment numbers are so out of whack that the federal government says it can't even use them anymore. Spencer Soysher explains.
The state of Colorado says the unemployment rate here is 4.3%, right in line with the national average of 4.2. What's not in line, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, are those numbers.
So the unemployment rate is a vital economic indicator that provides kind of a valuable insight into the health and the performance of the economy.
Justin Koppel is an economist with the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He's helping us understand why unemployment numbers matter.
It reflects the availability of jobs, the demand of labor, and kind of the overall economic well-being of a nation or the state or the local area.
The BLS claims it's the gold standard for publishing employment information nationwide. And because of issues with the modernization of Colorado's unemployment insurance system, the data coming from Colorado can't be trusted. Employer-reported data dropped to just 28% in the third quarter of 2023. That has rebounded to about 80%. But the feds have stopped using state data to calculate local unemployment stats.
Is this a big deal?
I would say a little bit, but at the same time, not really. We caught the problem before it was published to the website. We caught it before it actually started affecting any other data.
The state is blaming the issue on updating the technology on its 40-year-old legacy system. They started overhauling it in October of 2023.
Welcome to Colorado Unemployment Insurance.
That program has seen some setbacks. Issues like people waiting a long time to get benefits and fraud in the system. So how unprecedented is it for the BLS to not publish a state's data?
Well, I've never actually seen it happen. This isn't a common thing.
The state wasn't available to talk with us about this today, but it seems surprised that data isn't being published. A spokesperson told us in a statement last night, it's got employer participation up to over 80%, and it's been working since the spring to address any of these irregularities.
This is happening because they tried to switch over to a system. I mean, how hard is it to do that? Do we see this? Can we, like, you asked the guy, has this happened before? He couldn't remember it.
Right, and then I spoke with another economist later this afternoon who said in 2019, South Carolina tried to do something similar and had problems like this afterwards, though they took their data and then added a little footnote at the bottom to say that they had some issues there.
It seems like we've been doing a lot of reports about numbers that you can't trust.
Yeah.
Spencer, thank you. President-elect Trump's incoming border czar is criticizing local governments that plan to protect migrants in the country without proper documentation. We know that could happen here in Denver. Today, Tom Homan called out sanctuary cities like San Diego, which will require the feds to get a warrant for people in their jails.
Bottom line is I'm shocked at what San Diego did. And bottom line, we're still coming to San Diego when we do our job. Look, it's more difficult, but we're still doing it.
Homan's policies could set up clashes between federal and local authorities. San Diego and Los Angeles say they will restrict local resources available to federal immigration officials. We've heard Denver Mayor Mike Johnston calling for civil disobedience to protest Trump's mass deportation plans. He said he's willing to go to jail to stop deportations that he believes are immoral. Trump has said those efforts will start on his first day in office and that they'll start right here in Colorado, calling it Operation Aurora. In an interview with NBC, Homan said today that he'll consider bringing back family detention centers, which the Biden administration ended.
People need to understand it's not in we say detention, but it's not in a jail setting. This is actually an open air campus family type facility that is open air, right? So we're not talking about razor wire and a penal institution, things like that. They have childcare, they have education and programs.
Homan said the number of detention facilities would depend on the data. ICE operated 3 at the end of Trump's first administration. Homan oversaw Trump's zero policy in his first term, which allowed kids to be separated from their parents. The ACLU already says that it plans to challenge Trump's deportation plans. Homelessness nationwide has hit its highest point ever, according to a new federal report. Cities across the country are facing the same challenges that we're seeing right here in Colorado. The report cites a lack of affordable housing, natural disasters, and migrants coming to the U.S. The annual point-in-time survey from the Department of Housing and Urban Development found 770,000 people experienced homelessness around the country on a single night last January. That's an 18% increase from 2023. The point-in-time survey is a snapshot of homelessness. HUD blamed the rise on soaring rents and the end of pandemic help. It also acknowledged communities like Denver and Chicago, for example, saw more asylum seekers needing help. Denver's own point-in-time homelessness report found unsheltered homelessness here dropped 11%, but the number of people living in shelters rose 20%. So the city credited its All In Mile High campaign on cleaning up homeless camps and moving people into hotels and shelters. That helped, though it came at a really steep cost. An estimated $155 million was spent over a 17-month stretch. Next Monday marks 3 years since the Marshall Fire destroyed more than 1,000 homes in Boulder County. A new study out of CU found for months after the fire, people returning home struggled with health problems and poor air quality, even those homes that survived the Marshall Fire. The fire started as 2 fires and merged into one. It eventually spread quickly because of strong winds, of course. Half of residents who returned home reported health problems, things like headaches, sore throats, or strange taste in their mouths. CU blamed that on poor air quality inside of homes. The study started when researchers got questions from people asking about health impacts. They hope it can also be used when responding to the next large wildfire, kind of like we saw in Hawaii last year.
They wanted to know what they were smelling, what they were exposed to. They wanted to know if it could have any impacts on their health. So we have now really, really great data on what the impact can be. And every home and every fire is different, yes, but it still helps us understand what these impacts can be.
So, for example, measurements inside one home found things like volatile organic compounds and high levels of copper, zinc, arsenic, and industrial pollutants. They said they would need more studies to determine if that exposure could lead to long-term health problems down the road. Well, this week, your generosity is helping kids in the foster care system. Kyle's out, but he has an update on this week's Word of Thanks.
I hope you got in some wonderful downtime with family this week, and I hope you would also consider joining me in supporting families that have kids in the foster care system, talking about supporting those kids, their biologic families, and their foster and kinship families as they all work together to figure out what's best for those kids. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the nonprofit Kemp Kicks Clinic. They work in partnership with Children's Hospital Colorado to address the particular needs of kids in foster care around Colorado. They have all the same needs as any other kid when they go to see the pediatrician. But there's also mental health workers who work alongside those families to figure out what the kids' other needs might be, as well as to assess any physical needs that they might have for where they're living. I mean, for the littlest kids, is it things like diapers and sound machines and toys? For the older kids, is it backpacks and school supplies and furnishing for their rooms? This Kicks Clinic really tries to work with not only the kid and their needs, because these are kids that don't always get a lot of choice in life, but when they get to be of a certain age, they can kind of guide their way through these medical appointments. And they also work to navigate both the biologic family that has care over the medical decisions and then the foster family that has the actual physical care over the child. Sometimes these can be tricky situations, but the folks at the Kicks Clinic specialize in this work to make it as empowering and as healthy for the kid and the families as possible. To join me and others in supporting their work, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. As always, I'll match the first 50 of you to donate $5 to get things rolling. And more than 3,700 of you have signed up to simplify your giving to our Word of Thanks campaigns through a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info once, and it automatically puts in your donation every month. We split it among all the nonprofits we feature. You can use that same QR code or text to get there.
That's how they start being called owls, because of why they stay so late. They call them hoot owls.
It's a social club with a history that provided Denver's Black community with a place to feel safe. Next, we meet some of the people carrying on its legacy. And fresh snow on a holiday weekend? That sounds like good news for skiers and snowboarders. That's coming up next. We totally missed a white Christmas down here in the city, but up in the high country right now, they're getting nailed. We've already seen some light and moderate snow in parts of the mountains. Want to show you Rabbit Ears Pass on our way to Steamboat. It's always some fun driving up there when the snow rolls in. The Weather Service warned that area could get up to a foot of fresh snow, and some serious wind could make conditions even worse. Heading into the backcountry could also be risky this week. Already avalanche conditions are listed as considerate and are expected to be in the high category tomorrow for some areas. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center is warning people to avoid the areas. Make sure that you check the maps before you head out there. I want to bring in Corey Reppenhagen now. And Corey, you were saying earlier that we could see hundreds of avalanches this week, even if people aren't even around. That's still dangerous. If you're heading out to the backcountry, seriously, take heed.
Yeah, if you're skiing, might want to ride the lifts. If you're sledding, might want to keep them on the trailer or go on the flats. Stay away from those steep surfaces of 30 degrees or steeper. Now, in Colorado, a lot of times our avalanche problem comes with how the snow layers over time. And because we had such a dry December, we developed a very weak layer of snow on top of our snowpack. Now all of this snow from this storm is sitting on top of it, and it's just going to slide right off of there super easy. We have avalanche warnings in pink, and we're watching for avalanche conditions to rise all the way through Monday. So a very dicey situation over the next couple of days in our high country. Here's the futurecast showing tonight's storm kind of bringing in some heavy snow at times overnight into tomorrow. By about 6:30, 7 o'clock, we'll start to wrap that wave up. We'll have a small break, and then tomorrow afternoon we'll get another wave of what could be some heavy snow showers, another 3 to 6, maybe 4 to 8 inches as we go overnight into Sunday. So the snow just keeps on coming here right at the end of December, which is putting everybody in such a great mood. I love it. Here we have in Denver, though, warm temperatures, which is also putting people in good mood if that's your thing. 60 degrees here on Sunday, and it looks like we're going to have a cold day to end the year and a cold day to start the year. Mark?
Corey, thank you. James Flanagan, Omar Blair, Happy Haynes, and Condoleezza Rice all share at least one thing in common. Not only are they historic figures to pass through Denver, they all have ties to the Owl Club. Our Janelle Finch and photojournalist Ann Herbst tell us who they are.
If a city moves like a dance, these are Denver's choreographers.
The Owl Club of Denver is officially open for its meeting.
The Owl Club of Denver has led behind a curtain for decades.
Some things that people aren't aware of, quite naturally, we had a hand in it.
Members know they're standing on the shoulders of great men before them.
C. Columbus Johnson, Mr. Ralph Mason.
Well, I'm glad you brought that history up from 1903 when you started, because we needed.
They met in their own private residence. That's how they start being called owls, because of why they stay so late. They call them hoot owls.
Meetings these days don't go so late, but they're no less frequent.
Every other Tuesday at the club. So, and that's a tradition.
Tradition,
yes,
born out of necessity.
They founded part of our club based on where they could go to entertain themselves and have fun as well. You know, so during the Jim Crow laws, you know, of course, we weren't allowed to go to different places. And so they formed their own.
A lot of obstacles that they faced, they overcame them.
History Colorado's latest exhibit shows the Owl Club's legacy isn't just about men.
Over 1,600 young ladies who have been presented as Owl Club debutantes. They've all carried that banner proudly into everything that they've done throughout their college and throughout their careers.
Yeah, I see Condoleezza Rice sitting over there. She was a debutante.
Every year since 1951, the Owl Club has recognized high school seniors across the Denver metro.
It's very personal for me. Yes, it is.
Women.
Yeah, that's Ernestine Smith. That's my grandmother.
Terry Smith admires.
This is my Aunt Charlene. This is Happy Haynes, Condoleezza Rice, and some of the other women that I grew up with as kids, you know?
Smith's history is an Owl Club history.
And down there I get to look at my dad and my grandparents. Both of my grandparents are gone, so I'm able to sit and visit with them.
She knows pictures don't tell the club's whole story.
This is my grandmother.
This is just a step in the dance.
I think we need to just look beyond the simple fact that the Owl Club was a men's social club. It's an incredible elevation of our community altogether.
It's a rich history that we want to continue for, another 80 plus years.
The past is cemented.
There's a lot of them that we're proud of.
But the future will take some work.
So this young generation, Z, whatever they are nowadays, pull up your pants and become young men and join the club.
As long as the Owl Club is around, Denver's dance isn't over.
I mean, they've been doing this for years. So we'll just be patient and take whatever comes now. And it's coming to light finally, and we're glad of that. Meeting adjourned.
Janelle Finch, 9 News.
Very cool. And Condoleezza Rice, now even part owner of the Denver Broncos. The Owl Club has already started work on its 74th annual debutante presentation, which will happen in June of 2025.
That is some of the best news I've heard in a while. We got snow coming in for the rest of the weekend. The Broncos are in the playoff hunt. Go Broncos, beat those Bengals!
There you go Broncos. There's a lot to be happy about this Friday. Next, we celebrate your good news. It is our final Friday of the year, one last time to share our favorite tradition in 2024. We went to the mountains in search of your good news. Photojournalist Mike Grady takes us on a trip to Netherlands.
Lots of music, lots of people having fun, great snow. I'm here, I'm skiing.
Good news, we're up at the mountain.
We're at Eldora, outside of Boulder, and there's some very good vibes.
Everybody's really stoked today because we've got some fresh snow.
Yeah, and there's snow coming.
That is some of the best news I've heard in a while. We got snow coming in for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, great news, yeah.
My good news this week is fresh snow. I mean, in general, that's what we thrive on, is fresh snow. We love fresh snow, so it's gonna help things out up here and make things happen.
My good news is that my fiance and I just booked our wedding venue in Crested Buttes, and we're so excited.
I got 3 Fortnite wins in the past 2 years, so I'm pretty proud about that.
I have one more semester and I'll get my bachelor's in microbiology.
Where from?
UW, University of Wyoming. Yeah, sorry.
I just got to the boss in Call of Duty Zombies Black Ops 6.
Finished 1 year at the hospital as a phlebotomist.
I have 2 jobs, not 1, so it's pretty good, yeah.
That's great news.
Yeah.
The Broncos are in the playoff hunt.
What's better, good snow or a good football team?
Whoa. Now that's a difficult question if you look here. I'm gonna probably have to say the snow, but having both, they're really 1A. 1 and 1A, man.
My mom overcame stage 4 lung cancer. Yeah, she's in remission now. We're all pretty happy. Now here skiing today. It's a beautiful day.
Just a lot of happiness. Glad the sun's out, but also glad to have some fresh powder.
It's hard not to have good news on a beautiful day like that up at Eldora. We're back with your feedback next. Some feedback from a very kind anonymous texter. Someone says, I enjoy seeing Mark Salinger. Did you draw the short straw for this week? Keep up the good work. We all switch off doing holidays. It's part of the job. And I get to see my family here in Denver, so that helps too. We'll see you next time.